We have a mixed bag week full of planetary transits. In this week's astrology, we have a varied week of energies, causing us to feel motivated one moment, discouraged the next, but still finding a way to push through. Mercury and Mars will connect to the same alignments through these next 7 days. This is due to their conjunction. So we'll see these planets play tag with one another, causing us to think more strategically through this week. And Mercury, Venus, and Mars will be very active these next 7 days, allowing us to focus on communication, love life, and taking action on what really matters. And due to the varied week we're having, the vibes on the graph are reflecting these types of energies. Throughout the week, romantic energy will be present over the next 7 days, and it will intersect a bunch of vibes. It's going to intersect good luck, family and friends, social, mental, solitude, emotional sensitivity, and ambitious vibes. And mostly we can see a concentration of this energy going from the 27th all the way up until the 29th. And because of these mixed tones going on throughout the beginning of the week, we could be experiencing highs and lows, causing us to feel off kilter in some way. However, with some of the more harmonious energies, we'll push through easily, especially with ambitious vibes continuing all the way up until about the 2nd. And through this period, it's going to connect to psychic vibes, imagination and confusion, more mental energy, social, and good luck vibes. Because of the mix of psychic energy and imagination and confusion, our intuition may be overactive throughout the weekend. So we'll need to make sure we're trying to ground ourselves the best way we can, and we're looking at all the details and the facts of the situation rather than going off of 100% of our hunches. And at least with that good luck energy and that social energy, we'll feel optimistic more than usual. So yeah, we have yet another busy week. Let's look at these next bunch of days and see what we can expect. As a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps this channel grow. And if you'd like to support the work of this channel, you could do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. There's a link in the description box below. Monday opens up with an alignment from Mercury to Uranus that can help us think in an innovative manner. A vibe like this aids us in having strokes of genius and thinking with originality. Also, this alignment is associated with unexpected insights. In other words, there may be moments where we're having a breakthrough on something we might have been stuck on. So it could be a day where we're looking at things from different angles and finding ways to break out of ruts that we might have been in and finding solutions to something that might have been complex and problematic. And even if it's not anything intricate, if you've been in a mental rut or you've been experiencing brain fog in some sort of way, this can aid in having mental clarity once again. On a social level, this is excellent for connecting with those who are on the same wavelength as you. It could be a day where we feel the urge to connect with our friends and other like-minded people. And it could be a day of taking calculated risks. It could be a day of trying something different because your mind is more open to new things. And overall, finding ways to make progress in your life. Luckily, on that same day, we have a stabilizing alignment from Venus and Saturn that can give us the urge to commit to the right things, people, and financial decisions. So an energy like this can help us realize that we need more than the bare minimum when it comes down to relationships, our situations, our long-term goals, how we earn money, and overall just career goals that we have for ourselves. So a vibe like this highlights our need to create stability in both our professional and personal lives. A stage where we feel the need to devote ourselves to worthwhile endeavors. In romantic situations, this could be a stage to commit if you're in a dating situation or strengthen an already established union that you're in. For those who are single, this might be a time where you're realizing it's time to get serious about your romantic life, or it could be a time to cut loose romantic options that don't offer you the sense of stability that you need in a dating situation. Monetarily, this could give us the confidence we need to move forward on something that may bring substantial income to us, or to finally submit our resume to something that may be a sure thing for our career. And if it's not those things, it could be a time to come up with an action plan that's going to help you overall in terms of saving money and finding ways to make extra revenue. If you couldn't get enough lovely Venus energy, Venus is going to make a trine with Jupiter, and this should help in terms of feeling more upbeat, feeling like things are actually working in your favor. A vibe like this promotes being social, going out and having fun, chasing opportunities that may potentially be lucky for us, and enjoying romantic scenarios that are over the top but in a healthy way. So a vibe like this is going to fill the air with an adventurous spirit and help us decompress through enjoyable things. This is why when I saw some of the difficult energy with the vibes on the graph, this alignment, the Saturn alignment, along with another thing that's happening on this day with Mars and Uranus, is really going to help us push through if we're feeling dragged down in some sort of way, mood-wise. So whatever might be bogging us down, we'll be able to look on the bright side easier than typical. And speaking of Mars, Mars is making a trine with Uranus. Because Mercury and Mars are traveling close together, they already had their conjunction with one another on Saturday, last Saturday. It's resulting in these celestial bodies making the same alignments, with Mercury going first since it's the faster moving body, and then Mars following shortly after. So anything we see happening with Mercury this week, we're going to also see happening with Mars. Mercury already made this trine, and so now we're seeing Mars connecting with Uranus in this way. And the great thing is, because this is Mars, our planet of action, whatever we were thinking about concerning that Mercury trine to Uranus, we will actually take action on those things. So if you needed to come out of a rut for some time, this can give you the nice push and motivation and energize you, so that way you are getting out of a stale period. You're taking the right types of actions to help you push through. And this is one of those times where we may be interested in getting out of our comfort zone. So even if you weren't in something that was more ruddy, this could be a period where you're ready to try something new, you're ready to break up the monotony in your life, and in a very healthy Mars-Uranus way. This could also give us the urge to take more risks than we typically do, healthy risks that actually pay off. So if there is something that you really want to go for it on, this is going to give you solid backing, especially with us feeling that Venus-Saturn situation, along with the optimism of Venus and Jupiter, combined with the logical thinking of that Mercury trine Uranus situation. This is one of those energies where you can't go wrong if you're taking action. So even if you're feeling bogged down, this is really going to be the type of energies that's going to help us push through with all of these harmonious alignments we're getting from these planets on the 29th. And hopefully these energies push us through for a bunch of days, especially with the Mars-Uranus situation, with Mars being a slower moving planet. We'll be feeling that for about a good 72 hours, which will allow us to pivot easier than typical if something's not going as planned. And I say that because by the time we get to the 30th, Mercury's going to make a semisquare with Saturn, which can create moments where we feel demotivated and also diminish certain situations in our life. In other words, we may be minimizing some of our problems. We might be minimizing the problems of other people, leading to interactions with other people that may come off cold and aloof. It could be a day where we're dealing with critical people, or we're having to check ourselves because we're being critical. Also with this, there may be a lack of follow-through from others in terms of communication because of the cold nature of this vibe. So if you're texting someone, they may not be as responsive, they may end up not responding at all, or they may end up just giving one-word texts, because a vibe like this really does reduce our bandwidth to communicate with other people. One of the reasons why we were getting that imagination and confusion and the psychic vibes is because on the 31st, the sun's going to make a semisquare with Neptune. So all that self-assurance, all of that confidence, all of that bravado that we were feeling over the next bunch of days may still be in the air, but with a vibe like this, we could experience moments of self-doubt. We can experience moments of fogginess. Our moods may fluctuate, and we may not feel as clear about our sense of self. A vibe like this could cause moments where we're sensitive to energies, and this is where I was saying that intuitively, psychically, we may be in overdrive and we may need to ground our energy for that reason, because either we are picking up on things that we don't want to pick up, that's not our own vibe, or our hunches are off because some of it may be anxiety induced. So it's good to take our time, make sure we're understanding every single detail of the situation, make sure we're looking at the facts of a situation before we react to someone or something, and just really make sure we're feeling less foggy about our own selves before we proceed with anything. But when we get sensitive energies like this, some of the best ways to deal with this energy is through spiritual attunement. So that could be something like playing with your crystals or purchasing crystals, Reiki treatments, meditation, tarot readings, or soaking up something creative like writing, drawing, listening to music, or even jamming out with instruments if you know how to play music. Because otherwise, a vibe like this is definitely not great for linear things. And we'll need to be aware of our impulses too with an energy like this. So it's important not to react based on emotion. Especially as we get to the 2nd, we have a mixed bag day. Mars is going to make a semisquare with Saturn, but Mercury is going to make a beautiful alignment with Neptune. Mercury already made this connection to Saturn, and now it's Mars's turn. And with Mars, this can put more edge to the air. Ariel with Mercury took on a more minimizing tone, a more aloof tone. And with this, we'll need to be aware of our actions. We'll need to be aware of rushing things. Anytime you have a Mars-Saturn situation in a problematic alignment, we need to be aware that we're not stepping on someone else's toes because we want our way now. And with the impulsivity in the air, we could want instant gratification to relieve ourselves of whatever might be going on. So try to be as patient as possible with an energy like this, because otherwise it can backfire. So if we're pushing our luck with something, if we're coming on too strong with someone, this could backfire and blow up in our faces. A vibe like this results in a tug of war if we're acting too rashly on something. If we're trying to take immediate action or get immediate results on something that's meant to take time, we can end up losing something that was meant to sustain us for the long haul. So if there are situations that were going to come to us regardless, it's better to wait for it rather than pushing our luck and trying to get it right away. Otherwise, we're just blocking our blessings. So one of the best ways to look at this is, do we want something in the short term that's not going to last, or wait maybe a little longer to have something that's going to work out for us in the long haul and be long lasting, be sustainable? The saving grace for the weekend, however, is this Mercury sextile Neptune alignment. So over the next 72 hours, we're going to experience some high vibrational energy. Of course, we're going to be feeling the Mars Saturn stuff. That's going to definitely be in the background, but it's kind of like I was saying for this week. We'll have some moments that feel like lows. However, there's these saving graces that help us get back on track very easily. And we definitely need this Mercury-Neptune situation, considering we're having that Mars-Saturn alignment, which is very rough around the edges. A vibe like this with the Mercury sextile Neptune situation helps us take appropriate action when it comes down to the way we communicate with others. In a lot of ways, it helps us think responsibly. It helps us think of other people. It helps us take the moment to have empathy to see how we might impact someone else. So perhaps we're having a moment where we're experiencing jitteriness from the Mars alignment, and something causes us to take a step back and consider exactly how this might impact other people and also ourselves. Sometimes we don't associate Mercury and Neptune with good judgment, but this is one of those times where we actually get that. More so because this is a harmonious alignment, but also a combination like this helps us feel things out by combining logic and intuition together beautifully. Another way this may show up over our weekend is feeling inspired. Some of this inspiration can be through intellectual stimulation, poetry, music, art, literature, or through conceptualizing things. With an energy like this, those things I mentioned may be the topic for the day, or a couple of days in this situation. So we can find ourselves interacting and communicating about philosophies, culture, art, music, and other forms of intellectual stimulation. And this may be a time where we're wanting to connect with our higher vibrational side. So it could be a weekend to dabble in metaphysical activities, or get out in nature to feel spiritually grounded, weather permitting, depending on where you live. But overall, it could be a weekend of thinking of ways to get back on track metaphysically. So yeah, definitely an interesting week. This is probably one of the first weeks we've had in a while with no ingresses and nothing retrograde-y at all. And despite all the harder alignments, we have some beautiful energies this week to really work with and get us back on track if we feel off kilter. Anyway, I hope you all have the best week ever. Later, and see you in the next episode.